And of course,
I'm sorry, that's the other way around. I was just getting that signal from the spotter that says
now
the other way around.
They are identical twins, and I threw that one to you because I thought you won't make that mistake. I don't want to offend the lovely McCaskey ladies. And what happened?
And in order to get us out of this, the Tigers have just come back out on the field for what's a 2nd down and 8 situation, and we have flags all over the field again.
That's going to be motion. The quarterback that time, the quarterback and the center were the only two who didn't agree with the count, and everybody else was moving, but I think the ball was still on the ground. The center had his own ideas, and he's the one who controls the flow of the ball game.
All right, so it looks like that was motion on the Tigers, and it's a 5-yard penalty, and you can see him pacing it off over here. So it'll look like we're coming on about the 34-yard line. The ball's just kind of inching its way onto the 35-yard line.
And not a bad crowd here tonight at Roosevelt Field as the night moves on a little bit, and it was a fast-moving first quarter. As I said, we only had the one penalty. Later drops back to pass this time, goes down the middle, nice play.
Interception.
Andy Town.
Andy's going right up that right side. He's back down to about the 35-yard line or maybe the 30.
That's the 30-yard line. Now Andy Town tonight has a fumble recovery, has lost the fumble, and now he has the interception. I think Andy's looking, get a lot of lines in the box score tomorrow morning.
Yes,
Jeez. So Norristown now with another opportunity. Seems like we've been saying this all night. Somebody's got the golden opportunity, and now Norristown's got it.
Yeah, and this can just drive the momentum of the game from one extreme to the other.
I'd love to see these guys, their chemical levels. They must be up and down and things like that.
And it looks like the ball is right on about the 32-yard line.
All right, Frank Cassano goes to Van James.
And he's hit right behind the line.
They've used that several times tonight, and Van James is just getting no running room whatsoever.
Yeah.
The defensive line for Harry Truman playing good ball tonight. And even though both clubs coming into this ball game are 0-1, both clubs definite contenders for the Suburban 1 League National Division. As I said, this division is really up for grabs. Norristown lost a really close ball game to Pennsbury. Truman comes into this ball game with not too many guys came out for the team as compared to a Norristown or a Pennsbury. But they're playing decent ball. Now they set up the screen this time to Van James.
Van James has got it, and he's down to about the 20-yard line.
He's down to about the 24, I think, Tony. And that time they set up the screen. Van James overran his blocking a little bit, and looks like looks like Billy Evans might have missed a block out there on the side.
Yeah, that's always a situation where things are happening very quickly. You've got to really develop that and hope you're a little bit lucky and in the right place at the right time. But the situation we're looking at now is about a 3rd and 3 yards, I guess, for the first. So they're going to come out, and let's see where they go. They have a little bit more running room on the right side of the field.
Of course, high school football, they use those far hash marks to spot the ball. Hash marks, I don't see any, but well.
I think we had a little bit of a mix-up there.
Yeah, he finally handed off to Jacques Richette. Richette pulled up the middle. He's mighty close to a first down, but as you said, I think that was a busted play. It didn't look too smooth.
Yeah, and they might be just a little bit short of it. Of course, if they are short of it, it looks like we might even be getting the chains in right now. And you can see, as you can see by down there, we have the chains coming in, and it's going to be within inches one way or the other.
Yeah, we've got a 4th down, it looks like, perhaps, or as Tony said, perhaps we've got the first down. We've got 10-10 remaining in the first half. And looks like about 4th and 2 inches.
All right.
So I'd have to say Norristown's going to go for it.
I would think. We have 4th and about inches, and this could be anything from quarterback sneaksville, as we used to say.
I think we're going to see Frank Cassano right up the middle.
And that's where if you just get the center and your guards to push out, you can hopefully get that 18 inches.
Now that's what they're looking for, though. I don't know. Truman's really got their defense piled up.
No, he's going back to throw, and this is a very interesting. And it's completed down to about the 5. And who is that's
Billy Evans.
Billy Evans.
Now that's an unbelievably risky play.
That's a gutsy call.
Woo! I can't believe that. All these years we've been saying how conservative Roger Grove is. 4th and inches in the enemy territory, and he throws a pass play.
And that's that quick down and in pattern, and obviously the element of surprise. No one really thought he was going to do that. Everyone thought
I'll
that he was,
tell you.
and that may be because why Roger Grove is down there, and
we're up here, and we will always be up here.
All right, now it looks like the ball is positioned right on. It's first and goal, I believe.
Goal to go from the 7-yard line.
And
they go up the middle that time. I guess it was Jaquez Rochette. Yeah, Rochette gets about 3 yards, perhaps 2 yards on the play. We'll call it 2nd down and 5 from the 5. So we've got a scoreless tie here, folks. The Eagles of Norristown and the Tigers of Harry S. Truman.
With right about 9 minutes to play, we have a timeout on the field. And you can see Coach Grove going over to talk to the Eagles. And right now, I suppose he's going to tell them, look, we've got 9 minutes. Obviously, time is not a factor. Calm down. Let's get that little level of excitement out of your thinking. You know how to execute. You know how to execute. You know how to execute. I have a feeling that's what Roger Grove is going to tell them probably 4 times instead of 3 times.
Now, do you think he's telling them you know how to execute?
I believe he's probably saying that right now. Is
that what your impression of the situation is? My goodness. Of course, this game being brought to you by the Norristown Area School District, and tonight Tony Koya, a dual role. Not only is our producer and director, he's also a commentator, a man of many gifts, people would say.
Right, and at this time of the year, we have our 2 cameramen, Kyle Vereen and Dave Finlater, are brand new. This happens to be their first game also. Of course, our spotter, Suzanne McCoskey, has been doing this for quite some time.
Years of experience behind her.
And here comes Roger Grove off of the field, and the Eagles are going there. And I think that's a very good timeout to have taken.
I agree. Settle the troops down and let's get into the end zone.
And let's get something on the board before the first half. He's rolling out.
Goes to Billy Evans,
and it
touchdown.
Looks like we have a touchdown.
Certainly
right
do.
There.
Touchdown Eagles. Norristown takes a 6-0 lead. That time Billy Evans simply beat the coverage. Frank Cassano had all the time in the world, and he just laid the ball right in there.
Right. And that simple down and out pattern, once again, they executed it the way it's supposed to be done. If you were doing a textbook, that's exactly what you'd like to see.
And Frank Cassano, I've noticed, has a nice touch on the ball. He's a good ball player. And of course, he's only a junior. He's got another year coming.
And you know, that's an awfully tense situation for any high school senior to be in, standing down there. You know you've got to make it. And here we come with the extra point kick, and it's down, it's up, and it's good. Looks good.
That's Ronnie Mingus, number 3, the kicker for Norristown. He does all the place kicking chores. Mingus, of course, is the captain of the soccer team at Norristown High. He doesn't regularly practice with the football team, but he comes out and he does the place kicking chores for Roger Grove. And he's a fine kicker, and I think almost every extra point we've seen this year, he's made. I haven't been to every game, but everyone I've seen, he's made.
Very good.
He's got a fine leg.
And he's a senior, obviously, this year.
Yes, he is.
And Ronnie's also a very good student.
That can be said about several of the players on the Norristown Ball Club. You know, it's certainly not just athletes. There's a lot of scholar athletes out there. Andy Town, as we said, you know, star wide receiver. He's also in the National Honor Society. He's a fine young man.
It is a rather impressive squad. All right, so here with looks like 9 minutes and 14 seconds left in the game. Now, once again, the way this game has been seesawing, we're not necessarily going to go into a halftime locker room with Norristown in the lead. The way this game has been going, anything can happen, and there's still a lot of football left to play in this first half. You
know what I think is going to happen? I think the Tigers are going to go to the air a little bit more. They've been basically staying on the ground. They got some early success with it as Andy Town boots the ball. Nice kick, line drive downfield.
And we can see that wall forming, right, the Tigers, and
nice
somebody got through. That was 56.
That's right, that's number 56 for the Eagles, Roger Phillips, and the run back that time was number 31, Scott Bloom. But Phillips that time, nice penetration on the coverage. And of course, those guys only get to play on special teams, so they want to make their impression then.
Exactly.
You know, Phillips isn't a regular,
and
but
also,
nice play.
Right, and obviously also they're well rested, and they can fly down that field, hopefully. All right, let's see what the Tigers do. They're 1 touchdown down, 7 points.
And they use a multiple set offense, multiple players, the skill positions, and I don't understand that, going right up the middle. There's certainly nothing there for them. They've been doing that all night.
All right.
And Brooke Bugg and Luther Harling at the corners for Norristown. Here, free safety, Andy Town. They go off the left side this time to Conway, breaks one tackle, brought down by number 6, Dwayne Sanders.
All right.
Now this time they've got a 3rd and 1 situation. Now I say they go up the middle again, based on past experience.
The way they've been playing, and also there still is a lot of time left on the clock, so I would agree with you. I would just keep it on the ground. I'd attempt to get that first down. If you get it, fine, keep trying to grind it out. If not, you're going to have to kick and hope you can get the ball back again before the half ends.
Of course, Roger Grove generated a touchdown by disobeying that law of ours by throwing on 4th and inches deep in enemy territory.
And they are going right up the middle, and I'm not sure. It's once again, it's going to be relatively close, I think.
It's going to be where they spot the ball. I think they've spotted it farther. Yeah, that's a first down. Yeah, he's gotten enough ground there.
And let's see, the chain is beginning to move already, so yeah, that is a first down.
So the ball's at the 38-yard line, 39-yard line of Truman.
And you can see how long it's taken to pick people up out of that pile.
Yeah, nobody wanted to give ground there.
Right, right.
We really didn't talk too much before this ball game about what this ball game means in terms of the larger perspective, but I think it's a must-win really for both ball clubs. Nobody wants to be 0-2 in the league to start out the season, because I really think the winner of the league is not going to have any more than 2 losses. They go to Conway again, stacked up.
And he stopped behind the line of scrimmage.
Nice defensive play that time. Who was that? It was Bill Angelucci, I think, was in on that tackle, number 78. As well as number 99, Greg Reinhardt.
That was a true community effort. And once again, as we spoke to Roger Grove earlier this week, he did say that this league has no major contenders.
That's right.
The team who wins this league championship is going to be anyone.
That's right.
It's not like we have a forerunner who's known to be going to go into contention for the championship right now.
Second down and more than 10. Oh, over the middle.
Right in his hands. And you can see he is upset. That's number 81 for the Tigers.
That's Bill Bragg, number 81, as Tony told you. Just couldn't get the handle on that one. He should have been there. Hit him in the hands. Yeah. Hit him in a bad spot.
Right,
the hands,
worst place to hit him.
That's right. Yeah, but of course, as we've just been saying, this season is up for grabs, but you can't be 0-2 to start out your season.
I agree with you.
That's a big hole. And they should have won the ball game last week for all intents and purposes. And I think that's been their problem. They've got the talent. It's just the execution. They're falling short.
Mm-hmm.
That game against
we see 78 coming out.
Bill Angelucci.
And Bill Angelucci shaking his right leg over here.
And Joe Glisson, number 50, in to replace him.
All right.
One aspect of Norristown's ball club, they've got a lot of guys going both ways. Mm-hmm. You get into the 4th quarter, they're a tired ball club, and I think that accounts for them not scoring in the second half last week. They got their 14 points on the board in the first half and couldn't do anything else in the second half, and they lost. They gave up the majority of points to Pennsbury in the second half.
That's true, and also it's a rather pressure situation to get into. And we have that pitch going around the right-hand side. Is that Conway again? We see a flag in there. That could be anything. That might be a clip.
Yeah, it could be a clip, a hold, illegal block.
Let's see what we have. We have the umpire signaling down there.
That time the run was number 31, Scott Bloom. As we said, he head coach of Truman really shifts the players in and out at will, which is a broadcaster's nightmare.
All right. I'm not even sure what that signal was.
Illegal block, I believe that was.
All right.
Yeah, it looks like probably blocked somebody from the back.
And obviously getting hit in the back is not... We have the umpires walking over to...
And it looks like Norristown's declined the penalty. Now, what's that?
All right, and we're trying to find out exactly what that penalty was. That's probably what it was.
That was an illegal block.
All right.
It's 4th and 9. No instant replay.
Right.
They don't know. They missed it.
No one's going. And here we have the kick. Kind of a high center, but once again, not a big. And that looks like a very good hit.
Andy Town
picks it up, and he's going up his left side. And he's down. He's hit by about 2 or 3 of the Tigers down there. Number 75 was in on that tackle. and number 57.
And number 75, Mike McCormick, and number 57, whom we don't have on our listing.
57's not listed. Well,
the invisible man makes the tackle.
We're right now just getting a report that signal
so we were
was
right. Tom
an illegal block
tells us
below
that
the
was an
waist.
illegal block below the waist. See that? Trust me. Trust me.
Right. It was a good call. It was a good call.
Okay. I watch the NFL every week, right?
All right, and we have 5:45 left. Now, once again, that's plenty of time. The Eagles would love to go into the halftime locker room with a 2-touchdown lead.
They go to Van James.
And Van James is coming back into the middle. He's going down. He's right around the 40-yard line of the Tigers.
That was a heck of a run by Van James. He cut back several times, eluded some tacklers. Really generated that one on his own after he got some good initial blocking at the line of scrimmage.
And that was that simple pitch. That was that Wayne Denson kind of pitch. Simple pitch, and he ran to the left, and it was him and the guard that pulled out there to make his way.
Now, it's a play that we really haven't seen run too successfully this year for Norristown, but it certainly was on that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, a big first down for Norristown.
So we have a first down on about the Tigers' 42-yard line.
That's right, into Truman territory with 5:16 left to go in the half.
Once again, plenty of time on the clock. Norristown would love to go into the locker room with more on the board. Right up the center, we have 35. Richette down to about the 35-yard line. Looks like that was about a 7-yard gain, I would assume.
John Keese with a 7 or 8 yard gain. Nice play that time, right off the right side.
All right. Now, this is where you can talk a little bit about momentum right now. The Eagles seem to have it. If it's Tom Wolf's book about the right stuff could be designated in football language, that's exactly what it would be.
Talk about a guy who uses his resources. I saw that on your desk the other day.
Right.
So you just bring it into play, bring it up in conversation.
Right.
I'll tell you. Cassano, quick hand off to Richette, first down. He's got a little running room.
And he's down to about the 22, it looks like. And they're grinding out, and you can see what's happening right now. We've had 3 plays where they've gone, I guess, 22-8, and that looks like it was about a 7 or an 8-yard run.
And I think the Tiger defense looks a little flat right now. I think you really may be right on
this is a time, you can see, if you can see on the screen right now, the Tigers are not jumping up and down. They don't have that. They're not hitting each other on the head, on the helmet. They're not doing anything. They're just standing there right now. And if you stand there flat-footed when you've got a Norristown team that is going to come at you, it's going to be very tough on you. Let's see what happens. We have number 40 going right.
Van James picked up about 4 on the play, I think. And Roger Grove keeping the ball on the ground, eating up some time on the clock, and marching steadily downfield against the Tigers.
And once again, Roger knows there's still plenty of time left in this first half.
And
it seems like we have a timeout. Tigers on the field.
Of course, Roger shuttles his plays in with his wide receivers, Bob Carson and Andy Town, as split ends. That's how the Eagles bring the plays in. And Roger will take some time out onto the field to talk to his troops right now. Second down and about 5.
And as you can see right now, we kind of have that Tigers defensive huddle. There's not a lot of enthusiasm right there. They're not trying to get each other up right now. I would think at this point in time, your back is kind of against the wall. You have a, a second down and 4 situation. And the only thing that you've got to do is the only thing standing between you and going into the locker room 2 touchdowns down is that defensive line. And they're going to have to get up, and they're going to have to let Norristown know that they're there.
I agree. All right, the ball's at the 17, 18-yard line at Truman. Norristown looking very impressive here in the first half offensively. It's Yom Kippur. It's Yom Kippur. Suzanne, you want to get the sodas for it? Sodas and the pretzels? We just had a high-level decision here to see who was going to get the pretzels and the soda for halftime. And
right, you can tell this is not the NBC
the game's secondary.
And he is caught back there. We have the ball loose in the field.
Big break.
Recovered by the Tigers. It's kicking around, and Truman has picked it up.
Oh, talk about a big play.
That naked bootleg, and he got hit pretty hard on it.
They read that one like a book. Frank Cassano was in deep trouble. It didn't have the ball tucked in. He got spun around. And, Tony, that's a couple times tonight. We've seen them lose the ball because they didn't have it tucked away. They've been hit. I don't like that. You should be carrying that ball, protectively. Yeah. You shouldn't have it ripped loose like that.
Now, I will say this, though. When Frank on that bootleg, in a sense, he's got to kind of carry it like a loaf of bread, hopefully sort of put it on his hip. I have a feeling he didn't realize he was going to get hit that hard at that point in time,
Yeah,
and didn't have a chance to get it into his
That defensive player was coming from his blind side.
And here goes Truman, and there is that Conway again going right up the middle,
Fumble.
and that's another loose ball. Looks like a Norristown ball.
The whistle blew, but oh no, he called the ball dead. That's a bad call. That's a bad call. The ball was not dead.
So and you can see how upset some of the Norristown players are. That is a very tight
That was
whistle.
a very bad call. That whistle blew after the ball was fumbled. The official just assumed that he had made the call already. They said he was stacked up. There's no way.
And
that
again,
Norristown, bad break there.
All right, well, that's one of those things that you can't obviously second guess the referee on, but it did look to us like what happened was the whistle was a little bit too early.
Boy, I tell you, those moderating tones of Tony
You
Koya.
like that.
You don't like me saying that was definitely a bad call. And Truman, just like they kept possession.
Conway up the middle again.
And for a first down, it looks like we're very close to it.
All right. And once again, one reason why they might want to do a very tough whistle, the referees are down there and they get a feeling they don't want to get some of these kids hurt, which you might get in a pile-on situation. So at times the referees, I think, kind of think that a quick whistle is really advantageous, because the idea is certainly not, this is not the NFL where these guys are making a lot of money to play football.
Right.
These are 17-year-old kids who sometimes have all the youthful exuberance of 17-year-old kids, and you might not want them to be piling on top of each other. So as much as I think it's a bad call, that's the breaks of the game. You can write that down.
It's got its pros, the breaks of the game, Tony says. You must have been studying Allen's cliche book this week.
Right. Right, before the game he shipped the cliche
We have our
book.
cliche of the week. I think breaks of the game. That's a good one.
And here the Tigers come out. And you know, it almost looks as if the Tigers are trying to run the clock out, although I can't imagine why they would. I would attempt to get something. We still have 2:07 left in this half.
I think they're really concerned that time with grabbing the first down. They've got, as you say, 2:07 left to play. They've got a 1st and 10 now from their own 32-yard line. As I hear Bill Werkheiser in the background say the 34-yard line. Well, Bill, let's call it the 33-yard line.
Little compromise, right.
Now we get into basketball season, of course, as we mentioned. It'll be Bill Werkheiser, Alan Raleigh, and myself bringing you as many Norristown High basketball games as Tony Coy and Sam Galbraith can tolerate.
Right.
And our voices can tolerate.
And I understand we're going to be doing a little bit of a coach's corner type situation.
We'd like to have a clinic this year. Conway.
No.
Bootleg. Oh, man. Dwayne Sanders.
Number 6, Dwayne Sanders was hit right in the stomach, I believe, with that ball.
They had the nice play on the play action pass that time.
He probably, being in that center, he probably looked at it, didn't even realize what was happening until it hit him and was bouncing on the ground.
I wasn't even looking at later, the quarterback. I was watching Conway. They've handed off to him so much tonight. Later went on the play action pass, dumped it right across the middle, and hit Dwayne Sanders right in the stomach. Couldn't believe he missed it. 2nd and 10.
And he's back again. Later is...
Brooke Bug's got a touchdown. My!
He can't stay on his feet. All right, but we do have the ball.
Couldn't stay on his feet. Tony, he had 6 points. The only one back there was the quarterback. Later, perhaps Conway might have been able to hawk him down.
And he had 3 or 4 blue shirts to go along with him to encourage the quarterback not to touch him.
Brooke Bug just got a little bit of momentum, too fast for him. Tripped over his own feet. But as you say, the important aspect is Norristown has the ball at the 40-yard line of Truman with 123. Let's see if they can get a quick strike here and get into the end zone.
All right. He's back to throw again. I think once again, this is going to be he's got time. Look at it. He's just rolling to his right. Down in the center is that Andy Town?
That's Andy Town. Gain of about 9 on the play.
Nobody took Murphy up. Nope. Put the thing on it. Nobody took Murphy up on that.
Got a timeout called by Roger Grove. He's got 2nd down and 1, but that's not too consequential. The Eagles are worried about covering that last 31 yards to the end zone here before time expires. We've got 61 seconds left to play here in the first half. The Eagles, of course, lead this ball game 7-0. The scoring play coming on a pass from Frank Cassano to Billy Evans, 5-yard strike, and Ronnie Minges adding the extra point for Norristown.
All right, and once again we see Roger Grove out there, and He's probably telling his troops exactly what he told them right before they scored. I'd like you guys to get out there and execute.
Execute. You sound like you're in the French Revolution.
Right.
You have too much history class? What's the story?
Then on that coverage, all you got to do is get Murphy to throw right away. Just hit on a 76, right? Hit Murphy. And hit Murphy.
Now we're listening here to for Tom Pierantozzi talk to the coaches down on the field. Tom's right by us here in the press box. And he seems to think that Brian Murphy, the tight end, is open immediately here, right off the line of scrimmage. He'd like to see him hit Murphy with a quick pass and let Murphy run with the ball. Murphy, a really big fella, one of the tri-captains for Norristown. I believe the captains are Jacques Frechette, Vance Fisher, and Brian Murphy.
All right, and here they come, and let's exactly see what happens.
All right, Cassano's going to set up for Norristown. They go to the spread set.
Oh, it looks like we have a lot of jerking around, and we've got a flag up in the air.
That was Brian Murphy. Now, Truman player moved first, but he's allowed to move as long as he gets back before the ball is snapped. Brian Murphy got a little bit anxious there. I think the ball was going to go to him. I bet you it was. He was excited. He had that ball coming to him. Murphy set up on the right side, so it's going to be offsides Norristown. Let's pop Norristown back 5 yards, make it 2nd down and 6. Of course, no time expired on the clock. A couple penalties this half, but nothing unbelievable. It hasn't been penalty riddled.
No.
The first quarter moved very quickly. Second quarter, less quickly.
All right, and yeah, exactly. It has been a very exciting football game once again here in Norristown Stadium, and he's back again to throw. He's rolling out to his left-hand side.
Pressure.
Oh.
Boy, that's a nice play by number 84.
Like 84.
Scott Guger.
Scott Booger, is that?
Guger.
All right, and you can see he's getting patted on the helmet a number of times over there, and that Tiger defense is very happy about that because now instead of 35 yards to go for the touchdown, the Eagles have a situation.
53 yards to go for the touchdown.
Right. We have third and 16, 18.
Yeah. Third and about 16. Or 18, as you
and obviously he's back to throw again.
Boy, blitz.
Screen set up, and that's number 40.
Van James,
and he's knocked out of bounds. And we have a flag on the sideline.
Little fight there, little pushing and shoving on the sideline.
That's probably going to be a personal foul of sorts.
Now, unless it goes both ways, unless they're offsetting, we're going to have a nice situation for Norristown. There's 22 seconds left on the clock. If that's a personal foul against Truman, it's going to be a first down. James was knocked out of bounds after about 6 yards on that play. All right, personal foul, Truman. Let's see if he calls one against Norristown.
Right.
No, he doesn't.
Now,
let's move it back 15.
Right. So the situation we have is that one of the Truman defenders ran into that crowd of standing on the Norristown bench and obviously did something, probably an elbow.
Yeah, well, see, Van James was already out of bounds, I think, and that the Truman player was still coming after him. And as you say, in high school football, one of the big things, you don't want to get players hurt.
Exactly.
And things that are, of that nature. I'm sure he was just overzealous. I'm sure there was no malicious intent there. But you really have to stay on top of it. And the officials are doing a good
Right, although
good
overzealous might not be a term some of the guys in the Norristown bench are using right now.
Yeah.
But you can never tell. I agree with you. I think that's exactly what happened, and that's a good call from the referee's point of view. He's got to let the people know who's in charge of the game down there and what they can do and what they can't do.
So now it's first down for Norristown with 22 seconds to play. They're at the 28-yard line. And all of a sudden, all that yardage they just lost on the big play is right back.
And you can see where, and I'm going to have to call it a dumb mistake made by the defender, has put Norristown in a very advantageous situation.
Now, if they capitalize on this, he's going to be the player who's going to have to feel the responsibility for those 6 points.
You bet.
Now, this time he's got time to pass. He's
up
open
in the air.
Evans, no, touchdown!
Touchdown, Norristown!
Oh, my goodness, lucky play there. The ball flies up in the air, and Billy Evans comes down with it. Billy Evans has put Norristown ahead in this ball game 13-0. Oh, what a play, Tony.
And that looked like it was hit once, 2 or 3 times before it finally wound up in Billy Evans' hand.
That time, Billy was double covered. Frank Cassano just got the ball away before he was sacked.
Yes, and he was hit from behind rather hard.
Evans goes up for the pass. Evans goes up for the pass and, comes down with it. Now, he's got both scores for Norristown. Alan and I, earlier this year, Tony, talked about what a fine player Billy Evans is. Speedster, good hands.
Right.
Ronnie
so with
Minges.
13 seconds left on the clock, we can see Ron Minges coming in, and let's see what his extra point does. It's up, and it's off to one side.
That's good.
It is, guys. It looked like it was off to one side.
Flag on the play. Let's see whether we're going to have to kick this over, whether they're going to assess it on the ensuing
Defense.
kickoff.
Let's see what happens. I don't see any calls coming out from the referee, but right now it looks like he's...
I think it's going to be against the defense. We'll see. Here he is. Here comes
Yeah,
the
everyone is
official
walking
overdose.
off. I have a feeling we're going to see an offensive offsides or something like
Defensive.
that. I'm sorry, defensive offsides.
Yeah, illegal procedure that time.
All right. And once again, that's a little bit of overzealousness. It's the kind of situation where had, in fact, that been a bad snap or had Ron Minges pushed that ball off to the side like I thought he had done, Norristown would have another chance to kick that ball.
That's right. And now Norristown, of course, the point was good. It's 14-0 Eagles. And I'll tell you that the big play there has got to be that personal foul committed on the sideline when Van James was already out of bounds. You had Norristown would have had 4th and 12. They wouldn't have been able to do anything with it. They probably would have punted the ball away.
And this is the situation where coaches will just pull what's left of their hair right out of their heads, Jeff.
I'll tell you, that's tough. Tough for Truman. Nice if you're a Norristown fan.
So instead of, with 13 seconds left on the clock, instead of Truman going into the locker room only 1 touchdown behind against a Norristown team, they're going to go in there 14 points down. And that's a very tough hole to get yourself out of.
And of course, Norristown with the penalty will be kicking off from their 45-yard line. Andy Town kicks off for the Eagles. And they do a little onside kick. They dink the ball off to the sideline, goes out of bounds.
And it's out and about the 25-yard line.
A little trickery there, a little onside kick action.
Yeah, which I think got a little bit, once again, youthful exuberance. An onside kick should be close enough so that your guys have enough time to get down there and hopefully recover the ball.
In high school, are you allowed to kick the kickoff out of bounds?
I don't believe you're... No, I didn't believe you were, but it looks like...
I don't know. Perhaps the ball was down. Maybe it didn't get all the way out of bounds. We've got a bad perspective here for the far sideline.
That's entirely possible. Or maybe, in fact, it touched the player.
That's also a possibility.
I don't know. But at any rate, it looks like they are downing it on about the
Tigers.
Down on about the 30-yard line. And the Tigers have got to come out with 13 seconds, and they've got to just throw a little bit of a Hail Mary, probably. 1, possibly 2 plays.
I'd sit on it.
Well, we'll see what's going to happen. I think 2 down, I might attempt to do something a little bit...
Although I'll tell you, I'll never forget the Thanksgiving Day game we did here.
Exactly what I was going to mention.
19 seconds on the clock. Norristown had just lost the lead to Upper Merion on Thanksgiving Day here at Roosevelt Field. They'd kicked a field goal. Looked hopeless. Looked like the game was lost for Norristown. And Scott Livingston, I believe it was, 2 long passes, 1 to Russell Graham to get from the 19-yard line of Norristown to about the 45 of the opposition. Then another Hail Mary to Tyler Smith. His last play.
He's rolling, and he is going to throw.
Later's got some pressure.
And he's grabbed down from behind.
Theron Ellis with a fine play.
Theron Ellis, 77.
Great play by Ellis. Really knocked Later to the turf.
And that's also the kind of play that makes a defensive lineman really feel that it's all worth it.
And the
Getting your
first
hand
half
on
is
that
over.
quarterback.
Eagles ahead in this ball game, 14-0 at halftime. Tony and I will be back in just a moment. I'm Jeff Brandon here with Tony Koya. Tony, our score at halftime is 14-0 Norristown. And I was very impressed by the Eagles in the first half, especially that tandem of Billy Evans and Frank Cassano. Cassano struck to Evans twice in the half for big touchdowns.
Yeah, you really can't argue exactly with what you said. They executed exactly the way I'm sure Roger Grove said they were going to. That first touchdown, that 5-yard down and out pass, Roger called a time right before it. He then went down, and I'm sure he said, let's calm down. We're on the doorstep. I can hear you knocking. All you've got to do is come in.
There you go with those cliches again, Tony. I don't know.
Alan gave me his cliche book. That's true.
That's great. Tell you what, in the first half, I think the big problem for Truman, they stayed on the ground a little bit too much. They ground out a couple first downs, but they certainly weren't dominating the Norristown defense. I got to give a lot of credit to the Eagle defense, especially their defensive line. I think Truman's got to go to the air a little bit more on earlier downs.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And also, and the other thing, obviously, Truman making that major mistake, the penalty we saw with about 1:30 seconds to go, that put Norristown from a probable punting situation into a situation where they go into the locker room 2 touchdowns up.
Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to bring up. 2 factors in this ballgame that have been factors are turnovers and penalties.
Right.
you know, you play a game that's penalty-free and turnover-free, and it's really a contest of who's winning the line of scrimmage and that sort of thing. Tonight it's been a ball game predicated on breaks. Who's gotten the big break?
Yes.
And Norristown's just gotten more breaks than Truman has. Both teams have turned the ball over. Norristown has an interception from Brooke Bugg. He's got an interception from Andy Town. You've got a fumble recovery by Andy Town. On the other side, you've got a fumble by Frank Cassano. You've got a fumble by Andy Town. So it's kind of been evened out. It's just Norristown's been able to capitalize on the breaks.
Exactly. And like we said, this is the kind of thing you can't coach against any of that sort of stuff.
In the second half, I think Norristown is going to come out with the same type of offense. They're going to pass earlier on first down. They've certainly been able to move the ball against Truman.
They have.
And I think Truman's got to get their defense in line. I think their defense was a little bit pumped up after they got that big sack on Frank Cassano towards the end of the first half. They were looking good. They were excited again.
Right.
And then they had that big penalty, burst their bubble, and then they struck deep to Billy Evans. I think Norristown right now, I'd have to say, is a little bit better personnel-wise.
I would agree with you. I think Norristown has showed that they do have a little bit better handle on the ball, as we used to say. That's also one of Alan's
a little bit better handle on the ball. I'll
cliches.
tell you. See, Tony's all bundled up tonight. Tony's got the parka on. I've got the sport jacket. I'm the one catching pneumonia out here for Norristown High. But we won't say anything about that.
Right. Well, you can tell. I thought it was football weather is a time when you have to wear heavy clothes and get out there and stand and freeze.
It's not baseball season anymore. Okay.
Right.
I can accept that. All right. It should be an exciting second half, Tony.